Oklahoma State continues to destroy the transfer portal by piling on with two more commitments today. One, a massive 6'8 tackle, the other, a former freshman All-American. When's it going to end for the Cowboys? They're killing it, man.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes! What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul here, reporting to you from Huntington, West Virginia. My name is Mountaineer Paul. Like I said, this is Locked On Oklahoma State, baby. Appreciate you guys so much for being here as we dive into more portal talk for the Cowboys. And look, I get it, man. You guys are waiting with bated breath to hear about these guys that are coming in. So we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about your biggest impact players coming in from the portal. Who do I think is going to be, impact guys for you outside the normal suspects? Obviously, if I say Drew Mestemaker, that's a given. If I say Caleb Hawkins, that's a given. If I say Wyatt Young, that's a given, right? If I say Evan Magia, that's probably a given too. So we'll try to find some, maybe they may be a little obvious, but not as obvious as the best quarterback in the world. Like, so, well, we project him to be close, right? So we're going to talk about that too. Then I've got to get to a basketball game. I'll be behind a little bit, but that's, you know what I like about starting a basketball game late? You can just fast forward through the commercials, baby. So I'll catch West Virginia and Houston. Hopefully West Virginia will pull off a major upset tonight with Houston. So you guys need to be rooting for me. All right, let's dive straight into this, guys. This one's going to be brought to you by our friends at Game Time. And if you could do us a favor, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. We would appreciate that. Thanks for making Locked On Oklahoma State your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Pokes, every single day. All right, guys. So you guys bring in two more today. A big, massive 6'8" offensive lineman and a 6'5", 230-pound linebacker that was a freshman All-American. You know, this is an interesting move, man. Dallas Winner-Johnson commits today. St. Louis, Missouri kid, played there at Ritter College Prep, and he started at Missouri State and then went to Tulane. He was a freshman All-American at Missouri State in 2023-2024, where he played 12 games, had 62 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, and a sack. Where he was a freshman All-American. And then there was a red shirt before that. So this is really his fourth year, basically. He just played his true sophomore year at Tulane in 2025, where he played in 10 games, but only had 5 tackles and a tackle for loss. But if you paid attention to Tulane, they've had 2 or 3 guys move up to Power 4. They had a really deep room. So he didn't, he's probably going to get on the field. But from what I read, he was looked upon as the next big thing at linebacker for them this year. So they probably wanted to keep him, but Oklahoma State said, nope, we got a bag for you. Come on over to town, and we will definitely take you in and bet that you're going to transform back into that freshman All-American type player. And I don't disagree. He's a very, very good player, guys. This is a long-framed, high-ceiling linebacker who's already shown that he can be a starter when given the reps. His Tulane year wasn't about snaps. It was stats. It was about learning FBS speed, right? He moves up from FCS to FBS, where he contributed on special teams and kind of stayed ready there. But I don't think this is a projection bet necessarily. This is a guy with real production, and he's got proof on film, even if it is at Missouri State. The length and frame at 6'5", 230 pounds should excite you, and I think it creates natural leveraging issues for offenses, which when you're his size, you can just really disrupt the tackling radius. You can be really, really solid in that area. Downhill tackler for sure. He's got the special teams floor, if that's Maybe that's all he'll be, but I don't think that's the case. I think he's got a chance to be a rotational player for you guys with that winning pedigree. He was a high school state champ, a freshman All-American, and I don't think he's going to be overwhelmed at all by the competition jump up to the Big 12. Maybe it'll take him 6 games, but he'll get used to it. Some developmental points I noticed on film. His play recognition versus Power 5 offenses probably needs to improve a little bit. His lower body strength when he's dealing with guards, I noticed at Tulane, was something that needed to get a little better. And his processing speed when he's in coverage can probably improve a little bit too. So, all those things are very coachable and very, doable. He's not athletic enough, those are the things that you can't really fix, but the thing is about a guy like this, who's got this great frame, is as he speeds up to what was going on around him, he's only going to make plays. So I think he fits the hybrid linebacker mold where he can live inside or play on the edge in sub packages, and should be able to survive in space with length. You pair him with Chisholm, Weslowski, and Romney, and this room has style, man. I think at the end of the day, speaking of actually, you know what I just remembered? I totally forgot. You got 3 players, didn't you? I have a write-up on another player here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it in my notes. Let's see. I want to say his name was Puckett. Yep, there it is. Okay, so we actually have 3 players to look at really quick. Okay, so Jade Puckett, I know all about him too because West Virginia was looking at him tough. He too an All-American type player. So yeah, we'll definitely look at him next. As far as Dallas Winner-Johnson goes, keep your eye on him. He may be a year away, but he could be a guy that, by this time next year could really be a player for you guys. Okay. You guys got a massive offensive lineman today. 6'8", 325 pounds from Seattle, in Kai Holec. He's from O'Dea High School in San Diego. He's from O'Dea High School. He played at San Diego State and then Indiana State with 3 years left. Last year he played in 2025, he played in 7 games for Indiana State and was then redshirted. He was a 3-star prospect coming out in 2024. A top 10 player in the state of Washington. He had Louisville, Idaho after him, couple other teams. He chose San Diego State, then dropped down to Indiana State. This is a long play for you guys. This isn't a guy that's going to come in and contribute immediately. But, I think Eric Morris and company have said multiple occasions, we really trust our process when it comes to recruiting. And I think this guy's another one, right? This guy's really tradesy. He's got all the things that you want. He's got elite size, NFL tackle size, 6'8", 325. He's got that rare mass and length combination. He's got natural power, which allows him to anchor, and his anchor potential is very real. He can erase speed to power rushers probably pretty easily once he gets developed. And there is that developmental upside, isn't there, where, he's still very early in his college reps. So you look at him as a very high ceiling player that can develop and add roster value on the inside or outside long term. And it gives your offensive line and your lineup flexibility. Obviously, his pad level is going to be major going forward. Tall linemen, they have to win leverage battles all the time. And a lot of times that's why guys like James Harrison from the Steelers, who was 5'11", coming off that edge, were so difficult for them guys to beat. His hand placement, it needs refinement versus the quicker guys. And his game reps, right? Like he's still raw. He's got 64 snaps under his belt. So this is a guy that's going to come in. He's going to spend a year, maybe two, developing. But, frame wise and everything else, look out, man. This is a 3-star player. So it's not like he's coming out of nowhere necessarily. He just needs to develop. That's it. And this is your 9th lineman out of the portal. They're all not going to start, right? So you're going to create competition. You develop some bodies. You raise your overall floor. And I think he fits perfectly into that, 1 to 2 year development track behind, guys like Hansen, Sexton, or Mahia, Torgerson, even I think from yesterday, the other guy I spoke to the other day, coming in from Portland State, is ready. And I like him. So we'll see what he ends up looking like. So, your linebacker room is getting stronger. Your offensive line room is getting a little stronger here. And speaking of that, we probably need to mention that you got another linebacker, right? I'm excited about this one, man. I think this is another one that you guys, and this guy, man, you want to talk about numbers. Holy cow, right? I mean, this dude really, really comes in and is potentially a big-time sleeper in Jack Puckett. So if you look at Jack Puckett, he was an All-American. Is he coming up from a lower level as well? Yes, he is. Listen, trust me, guys. West Virginia, we had a rebuild like this last year where we brought in 81 new players. 81. You guys are at 40-something right now. But, I think we brought in right around 60 transfers and something along the lines of 20 high school guys, something like 20 21 transfer high school guys. So you guys aren't quite to where we were yet, but you were getting close. You look at Puckett, and he's a guy that he's that hybrid, 6'1", 240 pounds, where he was an All-American at UCO in 2024 as a redshirt sophomore, a year where he had 102 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, and 7 sacks in 13 games. He played in 10 games in 2025 where he had 63 tackles and 13 for loss and 4 sacks before he kind of got injured. He's an Okie, man, right? So he played his high school ball at Bixby, where he won 4 state championships. He was also a 2-time state qualifier on the wrestling side of things. So that shows you why he's probably pretty good with his body control, right? I love his tape, man. He explodes. He really does. He's a physical, downhill, distinctive tackler that's consistently near the ball carrier almost every single play. His run fits are on point. He's a big tackle guy, and he's very rarely misses tackles at the level he was at. He's really good on the interior, whether that's that double A gap blitz with him and another linebacker or coming off the edge, either one. He is so good that way. This guy scares me as a West Virginia fan. I really wanted this guy for West Virginia. He's got excellent reads versus the run. He really understands blocking schemes, and he was a two-time captain at UCO and a focal point of their defense in Division II. He's very athletic, and I think that's extremely important to point out. So his ceiling is going to be, interesting. We'll see if he can keep it up at this level. You're not moving up 1, you're not moving up 2, you're moving up like 3 levels here, right? So you're going to have to get your coverage refined a bit. You're going to have to tighten your drops versus really athletic tight ends and running backs. You're going to have to adjust your physical tracking as well, because Power 5 skill and speed is just going to be so much more. How is he going to fit the scheme, right? That's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that looks. There's a couple of things you can look at, but I would imagine that Skylar Cassidy is going to, have a couple spots for a guy like this to potentially break in early, and you just can't have enough dudes like this. Puckett brings all the traits you want. So I would target him early for fighting for your inside linebacker role, potentially on early downs specifically, until he can maybe learn the pass coverage part of it a little more. He's definitely going to be a special teams contributor, and I would imagine he joins, a really deep linebacker room, and he gets to learn from Ethan Wislowski, and other guys like that. The kid coming in from UCLA that you guys got yesterday is another one that he can learn from. And, I think it's a good place for competition and growth right now in Stillwater. So it should be a pretty good home for him to have that technique refined. And within a year, should be a monster for you guys. I love this Puckett get. I think he's definitely one of the better ads that, a lot of people aren't talking about. Is Cody okay? I haven't spoken to him today, if I'm being honest with you. I will check in. I probably should have already checked in today, but I've been so busy. I had to do some things today, so I'll check in with him as soon as I'm done, and I'll let you guys know in the next episode. I'm assuming he's okay. I hadn't thought about it. I guess I just always assumed he's okay. That it's gonna work out. It never really crosses my mind that it might not. So, we'll definitely look into that, guys. And I wouldn't get worried. It's just I haven't spoken with him today. That's all. I've been trying to give him his space. So let's go to break on that note and come back, and we'll talk about, obviously you've got this elite class in now, portal style. Who are some people you can look at that are impact players that can impact this team in a major way this next year that isn't the usual suspects? We'll talk about that next. Stick around. Of course, we can't go any further without talking about our friends at Wayfair. And guys, with Wayfair, the new year is here, and it's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and how it feels, right? That's why you should turn into Wayfair, because it's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track. From bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair makes it pretty easy to start the year pretty fresh for yourself. So Wayfair has everything you need, right? Full home refresh, all in one spot. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, upgrading your work from home setup, hell, Wayfair's got a huge selection, by the way, which makes it really easy to find exactly what works for your style and budget. I picked up some stuff from Wayfair. I love the pieces that I found, matched my style without spending a ton of money. It's honestly made getting back into the routine in the new year feel a lot more manageable for me. If you too want to get organized and refreshed and back on track this new year for way less, head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. And it's segment 2. Let's crack open this where we talk a little bit more about some things here. All right, so I didn't mean to do this. Hold on, I'm turning it off, I promise. Good Lord. Go off. There we go. I was watching tape, sorry. This is what I do all day. I'm very lucky somebody gave me some all 22 footage of all of our transfers. And Jacksonville State, West Virginia has 3 transfers from Jack State. So I have several clips from Jacksonville State that I had saved on here, I guess, for a show that I did to show our players. Like, we've got 2 offensive linemen from the team and a running back who led the nation in rushing. Had 1,700 yards, in Cam Cook, who used to be at TCU. So I've been watching all 3 of them players, on tape, and I guess I didn't mean to click that. All right, so I was trying to get to my list over here. There's no way to just know by memory all the Oklahoma State players, right? So we know about Mestamaker, Hawkins, Young, even James Williams. So I'm going to look at, all the guys you brought in, and let's try and see if we can come up with a pretty cool list of players that are a great mixture of upside and potential upside. I guess that's probably the same thing. And you know what I'm trying to say? Like, they're not obvious like Drew Mestamaker, but they're not like the guys that we just talked about that are like, God, if they're good this year, it'll be a miracle kind of thing, right? Because they've got a lot of development to do. Like, not that they're bad players, they're just probably a year away. So we want to try to find that sweet spot. You know, let me get back to my portal tracker here. All right, so the portal tracker for Oklahoma State. Let me get it again. There it is. Okay. I would imagine, you know, there's a bunch of dudes you could go with. Obviously, um, you know, looking at ranking, it makes it easier. But I think you do start with James Williams on this list. This is a dude that hasn't done much yet, you know, and I mean at Florida State he was good, but I mean he's still got a long way to go, right? This is a guy that has a ton of potential, just a ton. 6'6", 250-pound edge player that, quite frankly, I wish would do anything for West Virginia to have. I mean, he's that good, and I really do think he's going to be a dude that you guys are talking about next year, for sure. I think he's got that kind of potential. I can't go a step further without talking about Chris Barnes, the wide receiver you brought in from Wake Forest. What a dynamo! He reminds me of the receivers West Virginia got over the years, where it's these, you know, medium-sized receivers that have a lot of wiggle. You know, kind of similar to some players you guys have had too, actually. Maybe like a Presley. But really dynamic kid. And he's already put a lot on tape to be excited about it from an Oklahoma State standpoint. You know, I like him a lot, man. And he was somebody that really turned it on last year for Wake Forest as a redshirt freshman at that. What do you have, like 600 or 700 yards receiving for them? Yeah, he's a guy that you just have to be super excited about. Now he's back home closer to Texas. Chris Barnes is a dude, man. I would expect nothing more than for him to be perhaps your top option for explosiveness. I don't know if anybody's going to beat Young out right away, but you know, this kid here has a little bit more explosiveness to him than Young does, right? He is a absolute dynamo. So let's see what he does for you guys this year. But he was productive at Wake Forest, you know, so I mean, there's no reason he can't do it in the Big 12. He's already done it against other Power 4 teams. You know, obviously Braden Nelson, the offensive tackle from North Texas, is a guy. Maybe this is too obvious, the players I'm picking. He's only a sophomore, and that's the thing about him that whenever I was looking over this list earlier, I was trying to pick a great mixture of, like, they're still young, like they've got some upside to them. That's why I picked the three guys I picked so far. Williams is a redshirt junior, but he hasn't played a lot. I mean, he has played, but not a ton. You know, and you know, but also still has a lot of left that they could prove, which is why I think these three are really great picks right now. You know, Williams coming out of Florida State. Nelson's a sophomore coming out of North Texas. He's got to prove he can do it at the Big 12 level. And Barnes, who was very productive last year as a redshirt freshman at Wake Forest, what's he going to do now at Illinois? So that's one. You know, there's so many different ways you could go with the rest of these. Where do you go? I'm doing this in real time, just so y'all know. I don't have the list already made. I told myself I would already figure it out. Here's a good one. Here's a really good one. Jacob Sexton, Oklahoma interior offensive lineman that's coming over from the Sooners. Thank you, little brother. This is a guy that was a 4-star player coming out of high school and was really, really good at Oklahoma. Started at guard and tackle for them and was, by every grading measurement, an elite player for them and was on pace to be an all-conference and potential All-American. And then he got injured. And then he got injured again. And then he got injured again. So I think he got injured, 2 or 3 years in a row. I have to go back and look. I think it's 2. So he's kind of damaged goods now. But, man, it's the perfect kind of player to take a flyer on. Because what if it was just 2 freak accidents? Or what if he can play a full season now? This is the kind of player that if he gets it right, you're talking about an immediate all-conference player for you guys that'll be the best player. He'll be right there with Hawkins and Mestemaker as far as your best players on offense, right? Like he's got that kind of potential if he's healthy. Now, if he's not, then and you also, I mean, I get it. Sometimes injuries can make a guy lose a step, so I don't want to pretend like that couldn't happen either. But man, I love guys like this. And you guys are taking so many players. You got to take flyers on guys. And I love following this class. It's pretty obvious when they're taking a flyer on a guy. But that could work out. It gets really exciting. And then Donovan Green is a guy I've known for a couple years personally. I mean, we're not best friends or anything, but like we got to know each other over social media. He's a guy that for whatever reason, he had a really good freshman year at Texas A&M. And then I don't know, he decided to hit that portal. I don't know why. I try to figure out like what is it about it. Texas A&M. I mean, he played under Jimbo Fisher there. But he left, right? He's 6'4", he's 250, and he's an elite athlete. He really, truly, truly is. He had 22 catches for 233 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that was as a freshman. Now he's a junior, and it's 2 years later, and I don't know what's going to happen with him. I mean, he had 2 catches last year at LSU. LSU was a mess. He was a mess. If you go back and look at Texas A&M, Connor Weigman and company, whenever he was with them, I mean, they had something going. He is a freak athlete at tight end. Don't be surprised if he breaks out. I'm not kidding. This is a dude can break out and be so good for y'all. All right, let's Joe at a break really quick. We'll come back and put a bow on this one. Stick around. This is Locked On Oklahoma State. Talking about our friends at Game Time right now. And look, with Game Time, it's pretty simple with them. There's nothing like college football seasons. Tailgates, packed stadiums, and being right in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever. But actually getting tickets, so that part used to be frustrating with long queues, logins, prices jumping at checkout. That's why Game Time gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few tap-a-roos. Well, that's why Game Time gives the advantage back to the fans, right? Like we said, the app is incredibly to use. I went from browsing to buying tickets in just minutes. I love being able to see my view from my seat before buying, so I know exactly what I'm getting in those zone deals. If you just want to pick a section, Game Time will pick the seats, and you can save even more. And where you'll be able to see college football tickets for as low as $25, made it a pretty easy game plan for the daytime trip. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase where the terms apply. Again, that's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off today. And you too can swipe, tap, ticket, go download Game Time today, and ask yourself the question of all questions. What time is it? It's game time. All right, guys, we back. Thank you guys so much for joining in on this one. And before you go, do me a big favor for Cody. Like this video. Make sure you're subscribed if you're new around here. Hey, if you've got a sister, a brother, a kid that you got a YouTube account on that phone or on that tablet or on that computer that you could pull up and subscribe to Locked On Oklahoma State, help Cody out. Let's get into 10K. This is something I'm putting on you guys. If you can, share this stream out. Just go up into the stream, up into the HTTP thing where you type the bar, where you type the www, whatever they call it. Share this thing out on X, Facebook, social media, and let's help get Cody to 10K. Let's have this channel at 10K by the time he takes it over. I think that would be a cool thing. Let's make it happen for him. And there's no reason we can't. We're like, I think 100 and where are we at? I know we're not far away. Let me make sure though. I don't think it's too unrealistic. It is. Yeah, we're at 9.95. I think where are we at? 50 away? Something like that. Excuse me. I'll tell you the exact number. It is. We're at 9,958. We've gained 177 in the last 28 days. So you're looking at, I don't know, 9,958. Not too hard, I would say. I mean, not even 50, right? So it's possible. It's doable. Let's get him there. All right, guys, I'm going to jump out of here. I got to go watch West Virginia play Houston. Hopefully we can get a win today. I'm excited if we can. I got to do another video if we do. Until then, guys, thanks for making Locked On Oklahoma State your first listen. Make sure you check out Locked On West Virginia where I'm at. Make sure you check on I didn't mean to wear the West Virginia hat, by the way. I didn't mean no disrespect about that. I forgot. As on your show, I shouldn't wear it. I just wasn't thinking. But make sure you check me out anyways if you can. And I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of your day. And we're out of here.